Right folks, it's a nice bright sunny day, and here we have an Cardinal 152. I'm just going to go through the disassembly of this fishing reel. Now this is the first project that I've done on YouTube, which involves a special tool, so look out for it. It's not a particularly difficult tool to get hold of or anything like that, so I wouldn't worry too much. But it does require a special tool. So, to remove the side plate, we have 3 screws, and it just comes away. And inside you can see straight away, this is superb quality. If you look at some of the other projects that I've done on YouTube, the insides of the reels, nothing like this quality. I mean, that is really fantastic quality. So if you want to buy an reel, it looks like it's a good reel to buy. I believe these are made in Sweden, so it's not surprising that Scandinavians would put together something that's pretty good. Once the cap's off and you can see the insides, it may actually be worth just showing you. You can see how the reel is turning there. So you can see that the main crank goes onto here to make this turn, and this is the clicker here, which if you set will stop your reel going, well, allow your reel to go forwards, and it should stop your reel going backwards. But the handle's a bit loose right now. In fact if it's clicking there, you can see it clicking, that handle will not go back. So right, when you turn, you can also see this cam rider here moving up and down, and what that does is, if you look at the spool, you can see the spool also moves up and down as a result of that, and that winds the line on in an even pattern. And this piece here is the drag adjuster. Okay, so the next step in the disassembly is to remove the bail arm. Now in this particular case I'm going to actually dismantle the bail arm itself, and this is going to be the first and not the only use of the special tool. This is a circlip plier, and it's going to be used to insert into these 2 holes here to remove the bail arm. Okay, so the little nut comes out. Okay, so the little nut comes out, and this just lifts away, and there's 2 loose parts on that. Alright, so there's a little washer, and there's a tungsten guide, and that's the arm itself. So this other part of the arm simply unwinds. If you can get it clear of all the other bits of the reel, of course that is. And it just comes off. Now you can take this part of the reel off later on. Now the central piece, the spool as it's called, that comes away. Don't think you can disassemble that any further, so as long as it's working, I just leave it alone. And that's the nut which holds the spool on. Okay, so to remove the pin, just lift this plastic gadget up here, and it actually comes out pretty easy. So that just comes off, and then your pin is loose then, so that can just come away. Okay, so removal of the spool means taking this nut off. Now in this particular case, it is just a right hand thread, so unlike the Shakespeare reels, which are usually a left hand thread, and as long as you do it carefully, it's not going to do any real damage, so I wouldn't worry too much. Alright, so that's the spool nut, and there's also a washer in there which sits into these guides here, and then the drum just comes off like that, which is pretty easy. And that cog there is loose. Okay, so disassembly of the bail arm mechanism, and a slightly wider screwdriver there. and just to make sure we get that off properly. And you can hear that flicking. You can see how far it flicked over as well. So I always make a note of that when you're taking these things apart. And inside, as you expect, there is a spring, like so. So that's what happens when you take that apart. Okay, so disassembly of the other side of the bail arm. So just to loosen it off. There's a wide screwdriver. So I can see there, this is spring loaded. So when you pull this off, you may find this gets in the way. So this is going to come off next. Now this is a plastic part which has had a crack in it, and it's been repaired with some brass straps and rivets. It is a fairly critical part, but that will hold for years. It won't be a problem. There's a little spring here which you don't want to lose. That is the bail arm trigger. Okay, and then that comes off, and again it's got a spring inside it. And I must stress again that that spring is not the same as that one, so try not to get them mixed up. Okay, so coming back to the main body, we have this is a left-hand thread, and that's just so you can fold the reel when you've got it in your fishing bag. That just comes off, doesn't come off any further, and it's been designed in such a way that it doesn't wear that badly, whereas some of them do, and that doesn't come off at all, but it's actually in pretty good nick. Abu designed these fairly well, so you should find that's not really a problem. It is supposed to be loose, that's the whole point of it. Now you see here, a slightly different colour to brass. This is a bronze bearing. It doesn't come out, but it just shows you the level of quality of this reel. It's quite a good quality reel. So here we have the main cog coming out. So there you go. Okay, so to disassemble this mechanism here, what I'm going to do first is remove the bearing. So this is the instance where you need the special tool. Okay, as you can see here, it requires a circlip plier, and that's what I'm going to do now. So a circlip plier has two little notches on it, and they fit into those holes, and you then use that to compress this spring. And you can see the part of the reel just falls out now because it's only holding it in. And you will find if you probably get something to just gently push that upwards, that will come out also, and that is a proper ball race. This is none of your makeshift ones you get on the Alcock's Duco or anything like that. You know, this is like a proper ball race reel. You know, it's a good quality ball race. There's no wear on it. It's in nice condition, and so is the reel. So there you go. Right, so disassembly of this is the ratchet clicker. Effectively, you just take the screw out, and you can see there's a bit of a spring going on there, which is attached to the screw, and I think that really comes off, so you just leave that alone. This piece here, it just effectively just slides upwards like so, and then that will just lift off. So that's that piece disassembled. Okay, so disassembly of the drag clutch. You wind it down like so, and then it will slide away like that. And then you've got a couple of pieces in there which can be lifted out too. There's very rarely any problem with these, so you don't really need to take these out, but there you go. Now this piece of brass here, that does actually come out too, if you need to take it out. Now this piece here, that is about as far as you can go with it. You can take the brass off, and it has a left hand thread, so remember that. Well, there's nothing wrong with it, so you don't really need to take that off, and it doesn't particularly need greasing because you've got brass components in there. Okay folks, that brings us to the end of the Abu Cardinal 152. Hope you enjoyed the video. Look out for more videos. Well, there will also be a reassembly video at some point on this reel. Thanks very much for watching.